Namaste and very good morning, everyone. After missing the last Sunday's Sunya talks, we are back again. And this time we have come up with a very interesting topic. A topic that has been really interesting me over a period of the practice of Sunya that we have been doing. And this was the simile of a bull or ox that has been used in Zen. And I always wondered why in India the tradition of the bull being worshipped or a cow being worshipped has always been there. And this particular worshipping of a cow or a bull and seeing them as objects of something to do with your enlightenment always bewildered me. So I think I will get the answers today as we move forward into our practice of the Sunya. Along with that, we will also begin with, initially, let us begin with a Sunya practice 9 to 0 so that we can focus our mind and control our thoughts. And with this, we will be able to understand this topic very nicely. So let's practice. Everybody settle down and observe your breath, and make sure that when the breath goes in and out, you count your 9 to 0 mentally without moving any part of your body and fixing your eyes and at one single point. Okay, let's start practice. 9 to 0. Start. Finish with our hands. Slowly wipe off your face. Comb the hair, rub the ears, neck, hands. And let's start today's session, the Sunya Talks. The topic here is 10 Bulls. So this basically is a series of short poems and accompanied drawings that were used to describe the stages of the practitioner's progress towards enlightenment, because everybody was seeking enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Is to understand all the illusions that are happening around us, because things are ever changing. We ourselves are changing and things around us are changing, and we just don't know what is right and what is wrong. And this whole confusion keeps us confused and troubled and worried. So if we can find clarity, we can see through all the illusion, life becomes easy, becomes fun, and we can enjoy life to the fullest. And that is what enlightenment here means. And the fact is, an enlightened person sees that his role is a bigger role than himself, and he contributes to the society with his wisdom and true compassion, because only a compassionate person can really care for somebody who is not even related to him. He carries this particular feeling of love for everyone, unbiased, undifferentiated, and make sure that whatever he can, in whatever capacity he has, he can help those who are needy. And that's where the journey is. So how does Sunya and how does this 10 Bulls practice, which is like almost the pictures that I'm going to share with you, are from the verses of Kuan Xuan. This is a Chinese Zen master, and the verses I'm going to also share with you are also translated into English by Senzaki Nyogen. Okay, this is almost around 1876 to 1958. and Paul Reps in 1895 to 1990. The ticker line down tells you in detail about what it is. These paintings, they are traditionally attributed to Tensho Shubun. Okay, it's almost in the 14th century. And I strongly believe that the tradition that migrated from India to China and then Japan, they definitely had something to do with the teaching and the teacher's simile of using an ox as one of the means to understand something of the state of the mind. Now here you have to understand, ox is the potential, the power that can be used and harnessed of the mind. What happens is, we always want to do something, we have desire to do something, but the power, the ability of the mind to do that is somewhere missing. We are not able to pull that out. And that is why if you see the story of this 10 bulls is all about the 10 stages of the bull as he transforms from one stage to another, but with the help of the teacher, the awareness. And that's exactly what we do in Shunya. Now you see this person who's going to go out in search of the bull, like we are right now when we are practicing Shunya. We are in searching out for that energy, that bull energy, or that power within our mind to get things done. And for that we need that energy, and that energy we need to search through. But we know there is always this calling, there is always this want that we want to do it, but somehow it seems so helpless. We feel so helpless. We seek motivational speakers, we read through inspirational books, we go for self-help books, then we listen to a lot of audio and podcasts, but they all still, somebody else trying to tell us, and yet nothing transforms within us. We feel like doing it, but doesn't work. The reason behind that is the bull is not yet harnessed. We still haven't found our bull. We have this feeling, the longing that tells us that something is out there, I need to go out and search. And that's exactly what this 10 bulls Zen practice is all about, and it very well matches with our Shunya practice, which is of 7 levels. And as you see, I'm going to go through the poetry, which is translated in English, as well as the pictures, so that you can have a pictorial memory about these things. When you practice, you will realize why we call Shunya practice the practice of peace that leads you to prosperity. And it's only through prosperity you can get away from all the sufferings of material life. Okay, so please understand that peace is the source of whatever you want to achieve in your life, and only those things that you achieved in life can be enjoyed peacefully if the seed of that achievement is peace itself. Okay, so let's start with today's session. Okay, the first one is, when you have this calling, this first picture shows that he is in search of a bull. He knows that there is something that I am missing out, and he knows there is a calling, and he is in search of the bull. And the poetry goes like this, the translation goes like this. On the next slide you'll see, in the pasture of the world, I endlessly push aside the tall grasses in search of the ox, is also called as a bull. Following unnamed rivers, lost upon the interpenetrating paths of distant mountains, my strength failing, my vitality exhausted, I cannot find the ox. Means I'm doing everything. I'm endlessly pushing aside the tall grasses in the search of the ox. Means I'm meeting people, I'm trying all the things that come in my life, I'm doing everything, but yet I'm not finding the ox. I go through unnamed rivers, that challenges in life. I lost upon the interpenetrating paths of distant mountains. So it's about a journey, and we embark on a journey, and this journey we do everything, face all the challenges, yet we do not seem to find the ox. And so he sees that his strength is failing, okay, the vitality is exhausted, okay, and I cannot find the ox. Point 2, when you go, discovery of the footprints. Now you see let's go to the picture here. What happens is, when you are on this journey, there would be some signs where you will see that you can say, hey, Now, I am finding some little signs, but I don't know whether those signs are what it is meant. We have this kind of an intuition, a sixth sense, a feeling that yes, maybe that is my calling, maybe that is what I need to do. But then life's circumstances and situations may create so many hurdles and problems that you tend to silence those voices. You try to cover up the footsteps that can lead you to all your possibilities that could be possible. If you're an Indian, and we have a very successful Indian cricket captain called Mr. MS Dhoni, and this cricket captain was working with the railways, and he used to always feel this calling, that there are people shouting his name out, and there is something that he is still missing out from life, and he cannot do this railway job, a government job. And he always felt like he had to go out there and give his best shot. And that's when he takes that plunge into making cricket as his career. And today, if you see, he's one of the most successful captains in Indian cricket. He's considered almost similar to God. And that's exactly what happens when you get your calling. You transform not only your life, but many people's life. You give them happiness, you give them pleasure, and they seek complete peace with you. So that's exactly what happens. So second picture tells us about discovery of the footprints. So when this boy is in search of the ox, he is looking at the footprints in the jungle that he can see, and he's trying to trace these footprints. And he's saying, the poem goes on like this: along the river bank, under the trees, I discover footprints. Even under the fragrant grass, I see his prints. Deep in remote mountains they are found. These traces can no more be hidden, that one's nose looking heavenward. Means he's saying that unless you are looking heavenward, you cannot miss those things. Means if you're completely out of your mind, you will not miss the signs that can lead you to your own destiny, your own final, you can say, the countdown where your life is going to be transformed. Looking at these footprints is the key. And in life, many a times we have to watch ourselves cleanly. We have to watch ourselves clearly, so that we can sense those little things that are leading us towards our prosperity, towards our peace. And that's possible. It could be a simple accidental connection with someone. That could be a possible where you get a feeling, yeah, that's a footprint. That's that little silent whisper that's telling me that's my calling. From here, maybe the path opens. From here, maybe the journey begins. That feeling, your sixth sense, your mind can sense it. You have to hold on to it. So that's the second slide. So when you practice Shunya, when you're doing your 9 to 0, and you realize that you are actually able to focus your mind without losing your focus, you can experience your focus. With this focus that you have gained, you will be able to see clearly those footprints, hear clearly those whispers of your own destiny that is going to be unfold. Okay, let's go to slide 3. Here, for the first time, the boy that is in search of the ox, he can see the ox, but not the complete part. He can actually see the ox, and he knows that this is it. This is the point where he is, for the first time, on the hindsight, getting in touch with something that he wanted to do. And he is seeing that, but he's not able to see it clearly, but he gets the hind view of it. So if you look at the boy, he's looking at the back of the ox, which is engaged in something else. Now let's read the poem, third verse. I hear the song of the nightingale. The sun is warm. The wind is mild. Willows are green along the shore. Here no ox can hide. What artist can draw that massive head, those majestic horns? So he's saying that when such a thing happens, so this is very poetic language, okay? This is like a cryptic language where through poetry you try to explain something that you cannot explain. So he's trying to say that when everything is very clear, where you can hear the song of the nightingale, when you can see and feel the warmth of the sun, you can hear the mildness of the wind, okay, you become so sensitive, and you can see the willows are green along the shore. So technically you become more clear And because of that, no ox can hide. So no opportunity that is meant for you can hide when your mind is at peace. And that's exactly what happens when at slide 3, where perceiving the bull, where you can actually, when you practice and then go back to your doing your duty, you'll realize you are seeing your bull there, an opportunity there. You can see the ox facing not towards you, away from you, but there is an opportunity at your hand. Okay, go to next slide. And here you can see that when he sees that, that's where you grab the opportunity. Then you catching the bull is the title for this. You see, now he's actually carried two things. In the beginning of the session, I forgot to tell you. He carries a whip and a rope. Now, what is a whip? Whip is discipline. With discipline, and rope is endurance, because through rope you don't let things go away. So with whip, that is discipline and also patience. With actually the rope, that is endurance, not letting go away, you harness, you hold on to, you control, you capture the ox. You actually, then the struggle begins. So it's here that when you start the practice, many people give away because the ox just pulls them through, because they are not even having the ability to remain still. And that's why problems of life, situations, circumstances, even though something was going to be a destiny for them, an opportunity for them, it's just pulled away because their minds were not stable. They did not have the whip, they did not have the rope, and did not have the strength and the discipline to hold on to the opportunity for long. And that's exactly what this is telling, the fourth slide. And the poem goes like this: catching the bull, I seize him with a terrific struggle. His great will and power are inexhaustible. So if you want something that is something never going to exhaust, something that is going to give you the highest of highest realization, which will be more powerful, which will be great, trust me, that thing will also be of the same quality that you want yourself to be. And hence, it will pull you and you will have to pull it. It is going to be a tug of war. He charges to the high plateau, far above the cloud mist. He can pull you through all the turbulent, you can say the whole plateau, and he can pull you even to the mists of the cloud. It's like, or an impenetrable ravine he stands. Like, he is so strong, he can pull you into the kind of a jungle where it will become very difficult for you to let go. So if you see, when I showed you, many cultures talk about bull, holding on to the bull or calming down the bull. They actually sit on the bull, and the bull is not easy, the ox is not easy to manage. So there is a game, I think in Spain also they play the matador game, where they actually want to harness and calm down the bull, ox. This is exactly not for the bull, it's for the mind. You need to actually harness the potential of the mind. Only then can you function. And that's what it is telling here, is that you have to catch the bull, the ox, and then harness its power. Okay, now the next slide says that after you have catched the bull, then what do? You see, after that you have to tame the bull. It should now be under your control. You have two things. Remember, the whip and the stick. These two things are with you. The stick and your whip, the rope. The stick and your rope. These are two things that will help you to actually train the bull. It will be tamed. Now it was wild. Because of discipline, because of patience, because of endurance, you are able to take the wild mind and now tap into the potential that it has of actually giving you the power to do your duty. And here it says, taming the bull. Let's go to the poem. The whip and rope are necessary, else he might stray off down some dusty road. Now you realize why we say 9 to 0, 29 to 0, 99 to 0. While we are telling you to sit, we are telling you to observe the breath, we are also putting you on your practice of discipline. This is the whip and the rope. Because without that, your mind will wander here and there, and it is not going to be possible. Same is when you're taming the bull. You need the whip and the rope. You need the practice. Without that, it is not going to be possible to tame the bull. Being well trained, if you do this, being well trained, he becomes naturally gentle. You see your breath, when you practice 9 to 0, when you practice 29 to 0, 99 to 0, your double count, your no count, you keep on doing your belts. There comes a point where your breath becomes so gentle. We personally cannot believe that this is the same breath that used to just react in a different way, and now the same breath is becomes so gentle that I cannot even feel it. I actually just, it just comes as a piece, a very soft wind is blowing through my nose, without harming me in any way. That experience is only through practice. So then, unfettered, he obeys his master. Okay, now here comes this. When he is tamed, the bull is tamed, then unfettered, without getting distracted, he will obey the master. This is the stage where your breath becomes your means, where you realize that your mind has now learned to be calmed down. It has been tamed. So we are taming the mind through the practice of Shunya. Once you have your mind as your servant, as something that you have tamed, trust me, it's like having a genie in the bottle. Okay, you become the Aladdin. You can actually get anything done from your mind. And that's why I say that not only I, but traditions have been telling us that everything is the mind. If the mind is in your control, you can control the world. If it is out of your control, your world is completely out of your control. So it's the mind that matters. Next slide, if you look at the next drawing, you see the boy. He is now not just walking or pulling or doing, he's actually sitting on it. They have become one party, they have become one team. He doesn't have to do anything. Moving around, he can just sit and play his flute, and the bull, the ox, can just take him wherever he wants to go. So this is a time, where you ride the bull. It's called riding the bull. And the poem says, mounting the ox, slowly I return homeward. The voice of my flute intones through the evenings. Measuring with hand beats the pulsating harmony, I direct the endless rhythm. Whoever hears this melody will join me. Yeah, definitely. When joy is there, people join everybody who is joyful. People are away from people who are in sorrow. Remember this. In all your happiness, people will come to party. In all your sorrow, they will keep their distance away. This is the fact of life. When you ride your mind, when you ride the bull, you will realize that joy is what you get. Effortless joy. And that's exactly what this slide is talking about. And again, you will realize that this is all a part and parcel of our practice of Shunya. Then the next slide, the 7th picture says, the bull transcendented. Now, when you are going back home, okay, you have had the bull, you have caught hold of the bull, you're going back home. Now, this bull is now transcendented. You don't need to worry about the bull anymore. It's not going to run away. It's not going to leave you ever. You have harnessed the power of that bull within you. You are equipped with it. Now, you have transcended that thing of even putting an effort to have power. It comes naturally within you. Now everything looks so automatic and so fast and without effort that you think, oh my goodness, I'm doing nothing and yet things are happening. It's like that. You see successful people, they struggle for that first success, second success, and then it seems as if effortless success just comes to them. First they go to it, and then from every nook and corner success just comes to them, and they also don't know how it happens, because they have transcended, they have actually surpassed that effort that they had to do to harness the power of the bull, the mind. Yeah, so let's see what the poem says. Astride the ox I reach home, I am serene. The ox too can rest. Means when I am serene, I can let the mind also rest. The dawn has come in blissful repose. Within my thatched dwelling, I have abandoned the whip and the ropes. So at this point, you leave all the effort. You let go of the discipline. You let go of your endurance, because that has become a part of you. You don't need to do it anymore. Life suddenly becomes so easygoing that anything and everything you do, it just transforms your life. Okay, so let's go to slide 8, the picture 8, where both bull and the self are transcendented. Okay, that's the sign of our Shunya, where you don't exist anymore, neither does the bull exist. It's the things that you are going to do that will matter. You don't matter anymore, neither what your mind is. All that happens, all the present moments that you transform people's life, that's got to happen. And that's why you are going to be transcendented. Your mind is going to transcend, and then you along with the mind are going to transcend. So the whip, rope, person and ox all merge in no thing. All of these things become no thing, no separate thing. They become one single thing. Okay, this heaven is so vast, no message can stain it. How may a snowflake exist in a raging fire? Here are the footprints of the ancestors. So poetically they are talking about there's no way that something else can exist when everything has become one, and hence there is no thing other than you, and you will realize that you will become what you wanted to be. Even that medium through which you are becoming, that becomes one, and you and your mind are not two separate things. This is a state of samadhi, where you become one with your breath, and there is no breath as separate from you, and you don't need to do anything. And hence at this point there is no breath, there is no you, and you can actually sit, and people will be thinking that, hey, you're not even breathing, how are you even practicing? Because breath suddenly seems to stop, because there is no differentiation. Right? So even the mind goes away. The bull is transcendented, and hence you also transcend. Then go to the 9th slide, where reaching the source. Too many steps. Okay, now here reaching the source is just like you can see the everything existence. Reaching the source, too many steps have been taken. Returning to the root and the source. Better to have been blind and deaf from the beginning, dwelling in one's true abode, unconcerned with and without. The river flows tranquilly on the flowers, and the flowers are red. So at this moment, when you have transcended, you realize that everything is just happening around you. You are not the doer, you are not doing. And that is why, if you see, you're reaching the source of existence itself. And that's what realization happens when you see that, that everything around, you start thinking, why did I even put all this effort? Finally it's all going to happen like this, and you start appreciating everything that transforms in your life. You're grateful for the journey, but you realize you don't need to worry so much in life. There's no room for worry, there's no room for stress, there's no kind of anxiety, nothing to do. Because everything is just going to happen. The river is going to flow, the red flowers are going to bloom, the sky is going to be blue, it's going to do, everything is just going to be as it is. And hence you start appreciating things that happen to you, and you don't get worried anymore. At this point of realization, when you see no differentiation, where you accept things as they are, and you see things as it should be seen, not letting the past and the future affect your seeing, then you transcend yourself beyond that. And at this point, the 10th slide becomes very, very important, because as we are now doing a blue belt certificate, it reminds us that Shunya practice also is similar to this very ancient way of using a simile of an ox to tell us how we can use the tamed mind for our own personal realization. So 10th slide C, you see a fat man. You see that same boy has now turned into a man, a fat man. You can see why? Because fat, being loaded with things, having everything in hand, means definitely prosperity. One who is prosperous, he is having so much of everything that he is moving around, sharing it with the world. This is the point where giving begins, where you are the one. Remember, you started the journey, that boy started the journey by in search of something, to get something. And now when he realized, he got it and he used it, and he transformed his life, he changed himself, became prosperous. At this point, like a fat bellied big monk loaded with things to give to the world, he's out there in the society to give. The first dana of paramita. First paramita, dana, to give. This is very important. At a particular stage in your life, when you realize your interconnectedness, you start being the giver. And you know how people respect the giver? They appreciate. They are grateful, they are thankful, they worship them. And at this point, if you see, we call this slide return to the society. And that's where the blue belt begins for us all. After you finish your basic samatha vipassana, the 4 belts, then from the 5th belt onwards, you go into returning to the society and doing your duty. Barefooted and naked of breast, not worried about himself anymore. He has had everything. He can live the simplest of the simplest life, the minimum things that he requires, because all his desires have ended up. Now he's here to fulfill others' desires. Barefooted and naked of breast, I mingle with the people of the world. My clothes are ragged and dust laden, and I am ever blissful. I use no magic to extend my life. I don't want any magic to extend my life. Now, before me, the dead trees also come alive. So everything that seems dead for me, does not work, all make meaning and sense to me as I see life in everything around me. Okay, that means at this point, this man is just hopeful that the way he transformed his life, through him, he can transform the other's life. And that's exactly what we did last session when we studied the Bhaishya Guru Sutra, where Bhaishya Guru talks about making somebody like you. Do you think you're even worth that somebody becomes like you? If so, then you have done a great job in this life. If not, there is still a lot of room for you to practice on yourself. So this 10 Bulls of Zen reminds us that the mind power, the ability, you can say the quality of the mind to get things done is to be harnessed through the practice of patience and endurance. And one has to go through these steps. You cannot just say, today I want to do it and it will happen. Hence, inspiration, motivation do not work in transforming lives. But one who has the realization can transform his life, not only his, but many more people's life. Okay, from the taker, he becomes the giver. And that's what the journey of a Shunyati is, and we should be practicing like that. In India, if you see, we appreciate this ox a lot. We worship, technically, you look at temples, outside the temple, you'll always see this ox sitting. This is the sign that a tamed ox is there at this place. So when you enter a temple, you know that you're actually entering there with a tamed mind. If your mind is not tamed, it is of no use. That is why they say, you know, this statue that you see is called Nandi. Every Shiva temple outside has it. They say you have to whisper your wishes into Nandi's ear and he will pass it to Shiva. Technically, it also means that first you have to become like it for you to even achieve that stillness that is inside the temple. So first is to tame the mind. Okay, so it happens outside in this world. In all the agitations of life, you have to learn how to tame the mind. And Shunya is the best way to do that. Even in the cultures that we live right now, I live in Maharashtra, we used to see as young people carrying the ox. And this ox was nicely decorated. And people used to bring them along. They were like the fortune tellers. I never realized its importance. But today I see with the 10 Bulls of Zen that this was symbolic for us to let us know that you don't need to pull the bull along. It should come along with you. Unfortunately, in India, that part has been missed. But we do understand with all the scriptures that are lying in China and Japan, we can bring back that culture of realization. There's the greatest temples, and there are many temples in India. Even the largest ox statue is in India, somewhere in South India, and even in Himachal. So we have temples, the bull temples. So you can understand what culture India had. India had the culture of even rather than using godlike figures, we used animals to let us know that this animal mind, the monkey mind, the bull mind, the elephant mind, they all are the potentialities of the mind, and we can actually harness into that through the practice of dhyana, which is basically Zen. So that brings us to the end of the session. We will be opening the floor for questions. But to let you know that this is very, very interesting for us, because something that we have been doing for last 4 years has its, you can say, reference with an ancient practice, almost 12th to 13th century in Japan, and before that maybe in China, and before that maybe long time back in India as well. So with Sunya, we are actually seeing through that. Even if you look at Krishna, when he's playing the flute, it symbolizes that he's with these ox and bulls around and the cows around. It's the same thing. And when we can tame that part of our mind, we have the potential for transformation and never to suffer again. Okay, so if there are any questions, we can open the floor for questions.
There is a question by Shashank. How does meditation help? Does it simply allow one to be more calm, relax his or her mind, or can it actually be used to eliminate phobia, bad memories, regrets, shame, guilt, problem in one's life he or she trying to fix, and if so, how?
Yeah, so meditation is like a duster that wipes the board clean. It once the board is clean, if you can call that clean board calm and relaxed so that you can write a new script on it, that's how meditation is. Meditation is a cleaning process, a purification process. It takes away everything. It takes away everything from it that keeps you hooked up and attached. All the good memories, all the bad memories, everything, and brings you to the point of realization. Now, when I say, does it wipe up all your memories and you don't remember anything, you'll become like a person with, not Gajini. You don't need to become Gajini, It doesn't do that. It increases your awareness, because then there is no attachment to those things. Suddenly you realize guilt was just an outcome because I blamed myself. Rather than actually accepting the mistake and improving yourself, you have been doing the other way around. You did a mistake and you have been blaming yourself over and over again and then calling it guilt. So you realize through meditation the basic nature of the mind is that the mind has the ability to ever change. It is plastic, it can be conditioned, and hence I use that to clean up the slate, start all over again, because the ones who can begin are the ones who will end, right? So we need to always begin with something new. And everything that has been not right, you can make it right anytime in your life. Okay, any more questions?
This is the one so far.
Okay, so that brings us, since there are no more questions, and I wanted to do this session, it was one of the important sessions. So letting you know that this is a great endorsement again, that our way of practice is definitely aligned with the great teachers of the past. It carries a heritage. We should keep on promoting the 10 Bulls of Zen, our practices of Shunya, the 7 stages of Shunya, and Teaching is the only way of learning, and we'll be meeting again and again every Sunday on Shunya Talks. And since there are no more questions, we will see you. One more question popping up. Yeah?
From Shashank. What is the most important thing in Zen?
Shashank, if there was something most important, the rest of the things will be not important. In Zen, there is nothing called most and least. In Zen, everything is as it is. So Dhyana says, look at things as it is. In Dhyana, we only say that when you are doing one thing, that is the thing that is the most important thing. When you're doing the other thing, that's the most important thing. So the important thing is to be in the moment, do your duty as and when it is required, and that is what matters in Zen. Okay, so nothing, right? So I think that brings us to the end of this session. So see you again next week. Till then, namaste and thank you so much.
Il aspetto in पूरी दुनिया में ये स्प्रेड होगा।
When India started to practice Sunya,
जब इंडिया ने प्रैक्टिस करना शुरू कर दिया शून्य का,
but the ancient Chinese described Sunya, described India.
जैसे जो चाइनीज थे पुराने, उन्होंने इंडिया के बारे में कुछ बताया है।
Simple,
वो एक साधारण देश है,
elegance,
लेकिन उसमें कुछ खूबसूरती है,
most probably majestic.
और सबसे बड़ी चीज है महान है।
Sabas India.
तो ये है इंडिया, साधारण, खूबसूरत और महान।
It was spread throughout India.
पूरी दुनिया में ये स्प्रेड होगा।
When India started